And for those who haven't either watched or attended the Fragrance 101, we dove into the mystery, the magic of a fragrance. And what I love about Sholayered, as you'll learn in a moment, is that it's led by emotion, that it's led by your choice, your ability to choose how you feel every day. And we do that, and the brand does that through fragrance and fragrance layering. So please take what you learned from our Fragrance 101 Masterclass, and I want you to see a whole different aspect to fragrance we didn't dive deep on, which is a whole other mindset. And just like art, every artist is very different. So from the couturier perfumers in Paris, creating your Dior, your Chanel, is very different from the American fragrance lab to this Japanese fragrance producer, as Sho calls himself. So let's actually meet Sho a little bit. So I want you to actually meet the guy. We didn't get him here from Japan, but at least I can introduce you a little bit to him.
Hi, I'm Sho. I'm a producer of Sholayered. Sholayered is based on the idea of layering more than one fragrance. Our fragrance palette has delicate yet addictive scents, designed to help you make the most out of your scented experience by mixing different fragrances.
So before we dive into the history and the man behind the masterpiece, I want to introduce someone we have brought on. Susan, I muted you too, so sorry, Susan. Susan Meekins is the brand expert and counterpart in the North American channels. As we mentioned, this is a Japanese brand out of Tokyo. So I'm excited to have you here. Hi, Susan.
Konnichiwa, minasan.
Welcome. O genki desu ka?
Thank you.
So sorry, guys. You guys know I may have been raised with a Japanese grandmother, but my Japanese is horrible. So please, let's not continue this in Japanese. I will embarrass myself. But Susan Chan, I want to just welcome you on. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we're about to get into the history and Sho himself. So how did you find yourself in this company, from Japan?
Well, Johnny, thank you so much for the introduction. So I am so pleased to say that I know Sho personally. I do speak Japanese, although I do not have any Japanese parents, grandparents, sisters, nothing. But anyway, I am fascinated with the Japanese culture as a whole. I am working with this lovely company in order to help bring Sholayered to each and every one of you. Hopefully all of your clients, customers, friends, relatives, etc. It kind of belongs everywhere. It is a universal brand that originated in Tokyo in 2013. And I think, Johnny, you're going to talk about kind of the back end of it. So I will let you continue, and I'm happy to keep talking when you're ready.
We are ready. We are so ready. So let's dive into the history. So growing up with a Shinto grandmother, I learned the idea of balance and harmony within the mind very early on. I would wake up to experiencing cedar and oak incense in the morning, and her chanting with her beads. And this mindset of Zen really was so important to me growing up, and I do hold it moving forward. And that's really one of the things that Sho brought to this brand, is that idea of balance and the importance of the mental state or mind. How do you feel today? How do you want to feel today is what's important. It is a healthy life when you have that control. It is a healthy mind when you find the ability to balance in the toughest of situations. And fragrance can do that in no small measure, in small and large measures. Some of us can just get a pick-me-up with the new fragrance, or some of us can change our whole outlook on a day from a specific fragrance. So Susan, since you know him, can you tell us a little bit about Sho himself and kind of how he started his journey? We're about to hear what he thinks about fragrance in a bit, but I want to hear from you, knowing him. What is this man all about behind the masterpiece?
So Sho, I guess in one word, which as it will relate soon when we release a little bit about the products, is quite the mysterious man. So Sho is a gentleman who holds a lot of presence just within himself. And so he actually, I think I already mentioned, the brand Sholayered was actually created in 2013. So not a very, traditionally Japanese kind of ancient brand per se, but certainly has been on the market long enough to really know what he's doing. But I really want to talk about why it was that he decided to go into fragrance. So Sho tells this story, and maybe some of you will get the opportunity to meet him one day in real life, fingers crossed, actually, so Sho had a connection with fragrance from a very early age. And I'm sure that all of you have learned, maybe from the Fragrance 101, or maybe just externally, that there's actually this piece of nostalgia that is carried along with you that kind of is triggered by your olfactory. So actually Sho, as the story he'll tell, he has this vivid memory of being around 5 years old, and he had an older brother who went off to London. And every time he had to go off to London, Sho has this memory of the way that he smelled. So he would often go into his room or go into the quarters of the house where he would frequent, and he would smell the pieces of cloth or the fabrics to remember the scent of his brother. So from a very, very early age, Sho was connected to this kind of concept of emotion, that when he missed his brother, he could go and smell his brother. And then, so that was, a while ago when he was 5, and now bringing it back to the modern age. So I want to tie back this concept of Sho being quite the mysterious man, because he actually decided to start the brand based on a very first date that he had. He went on a date in Tokyo, and he showed up wearing a shirt, typical, and he arrived before the lady was there to join him, and he took off his jacket. So as he waited for the lady, she joined. They had a lovely time. She commented on how great he smelled. And then as they got ready to get up, he put his jacket on. And as he did that, it elicited a new scent. And the lady, the woman, commented, "Oh, wow, I love this scent also." So that kind of sparked this idea in Sho's mind of like, oh, she commented on the shirt fragrance, and now she's also commenting on my jacket fragrance. And she commented on how lovely it smelled as the combination. So just to touch a little bit, that's where he came up with this idea of layering the fragrances, because not only is it touching on one, the initial touch point of, ooh, I just met this man, and now I'm going to remember this scent probably forever, assuming it works out. And then also triggering a completely separate emotion by adding that layer on, that physical jacket, and also that layer of an additional fragrance. So that is the story of how Sho and why Sho created Sholayered. And
I think we can all relate to having a fragrance. We either say, I love it, then I hate it, then I love it, or I layer these two to make the perfect masterpiece. So I think a lot of us have already started this layering journey. And I just love the idea that you can really turn heads or make such an impression from this simpleness of a new fragrance, a fragrance left on the jacket from yesterday, for something new. And you just changed someone's mindset, right? I really want to know if that was a love story or if it was not a love story. But we can keep that a mystery, Susan. We don't have to tell anybody that.
Mystery behind the man, right?
Yes. So I want to dive a little deeper into Sho. We talked about in our previous Fragrance 101 masterclass about the mindset of a master perfumer. Sho doesn't even call himself that. He calls himself a producer. So it's such an industry mind space there. So I want to hear from Sho right now what fragrance means to him. So I'm going to show a little clip from an amazing interview. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. That really is going to show him in the aspect of what fragrance really means to him too.
生命体としてどうあるべきかとかっていうのはすごくこう人間である以上重要だと思っていて、美しくこう生きていく、美学っていうものがそこには必要でないとこうあるべきっていうような考えが人間の頭からなくなっていったらすごく野蛮な世の中が始まっていく可能性もあるし、そういった意味ではすごく美学っていうものが人間社会に必要で、美しく生きていく、そういったこだわりを持って生きていくようなことが結局すごく結果的に平和であったり良い社会につながっていく。で、そういった美しく生きていくっていう美学を横でそっと支え続けていくようなものが、香りであり香水になると思っているので、やっぱり動物は死ぬと死臭という匂いを放つようになり、良い香りであることっていうのは、生きていることの証明とも言えるわけだから、だからやっぱりそういういい香りであり続けていくっていうのは生きていく上ですごい重要だなと思う。
Definitely has that man of mystery flair there, right? So I'm glad we got to at least digitally meet Sho and get his inspiration from the brand and hearing firsthand accounts from Susan. But let's dive into the products, right? So today, they're not in your hands, right? They're not at your nose. So I am going to use what I call romancing, right? Some of you have learned some of my tricks. And what I want you to hear is an interpretation. And then when you get the fragrance, I want you to make your own interpretation of it. Everybody smells through a different nose, if that makes sense. It smells through a different lens. So every fragrance affects someone differently. When we go into writing our reviews, I really want you to think of what the masterpiece's initial interpretation is to you and what is triggered, what thoughts, what feelings. You're going to love some of these fragrances. Some of you may not like some of these fragrances, but what I want you to do with this is really write your experience in it. More than it's a good or a bad fragrance. Here, here's my interpretation of what I smell. And that's what I want to hear a lot more on these reviews is your interpretation, because I think it will be so amazing to see what you guys think with these fragrances, right? That's my goal here. That's what I want to hear from you. and I want to read in your reviews. So first fragrance, and Susan, I'm so excited to hear this story because Susan didn't tell me of the story. Here's our first fragrance.
Mysterious mix.
So this is on a personal level, my favorite one, Mysterious Mix. Now, Susan will talk about this, but Sho, when creating these fragrances, we talked about accords in our masterclass, our Fragrance 101. So he really created beautiful accords where he created ingredients together to give you an initial interpretation. So he really didn't focus at the base note and really wanted to create a synergy of fragrances. So the reason I put top note, heart note, and base note here is for you to understand, while I explain my experience with the fragrance, you're going to see the transition of fragrance. And then when you get it in your hands, on your nose, in your nose, around your nose, you know, when you get to smell it, then you create your own. These top, heart, and base note I'm about to put on screen in a second are not what Sho put in it. They may not be the ingredients. This is what my nose smells, and I want you to see what your nose smells. But before I dive into it, Susan, what's the story behind Mysterious Mix? What did Sho think when he created this fragrance? And I may have muted you again. I'm so sorry, Susan. I will do that.
I'm back. Well, Johnny, so as I touched on the word mysterious quite a bit in my little brief intro to Sho the person, Sho the man, Mysterious Mix was actually created as an homage to that very moment in that very bar in Tokyo where he went on that first date. So the Mysterious Mix, as you can read on Johnny's lovely presentation here, gives you that sense of kind of being in a bar, being outside, being anywhere that gives you that kind of feeling of that, exactly what you're saying here, the powder, the tobacco. I don't know if I'm releasing too much information because you haven't released the photos yet. But anyway, just that feeling of like mystery. And the Mysterious Mix scent itself is exactly that recreation of that very moment on that first date in the bar. So it just kind of connects the whole brand story into the product story as well, which is really exciting. Very unique.
So I'm going to spray this fragrance, and I wish we can get this in front of your nose during the masterclass. You know how it is. You get it after. So with this fragrance, I love that they're travel and refillable. So just noting cool packaging there. So with this, my first interpretation I get is iris. And for those who don't know iris, that is the beautiful aspect of their roots that create a beautiful powder. So I get that smell of going into the bar and seeing all these beautifully dressed men and women ready for the date or ready for the night. So that's my first interpretation. But then I get into woodsiness, I get into smokiness, and I get into that sweetness we traditionally find within tobacco and tobacco flowers. So I'm not just at a bar, I'm at a high-end lounge with French cigarettes here. That's my interpretation there. And then what it dries off into after being in the bar, after finishing that date, like Sho did, then I get into that little bit of smoke that's left on my jacket leaving the bar. And then that's on to the next step of the date, right? It's the lingering set of the first going into the next. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scent. So my favorite Mysterious Mix, it is truly a majestic blend of really complex notes. You'll notice I'm not going to say it's feminine or masculine because these fragrances are for everyone. And if you want to be mysterious going into the world, you want to just have a little bit of flair going on a date, this is your ticket right there. So thank you. So that's our first fragrance we're featuring today. Our next one.
Sholayered.
For those who don't know what a lychee is, your lychee or your lychee are grown all around the Pacific Islands in Asia. They are beautiful fruits, but on the outside, just like some of us, we're a little rough on the outside. And this is no case. This is the case where it's rough on the outside, but sweet inside. It is an amazing fragrance. And I'm so excited for us to smell these because I will say, and this has just been in the fragrance industry for way too many years. I've smelled so many fragrances, and there is nothing like this. And champagne, oh my gosh, you're going to smell some unique scents that I do find more in fragrance within Japan. There's some beautiful fragrance houses, but we don't see those scents here. And when I smell this, it is so yummy. It is so mouth-watering. There's really two really good mouth-watering fragrances I'll speak to today. But the top note I get is crystallized sugar. And I'm not talking about sweet. There's a difference between sweet and sugar, right? If you've had a beautiful tea and you put in high-grade salt from England, that's that smell. It's just so sweet. It's so pure. It's so, so yummy. And then we go into what it kind of is building up to, that heart of it, which is more of that candied, sorry, not candied, but going into a fruit note. I get pears there, but there is a little bit of green mint. So I mentioned mint and cucumber. It's so yummy, but the balance of the green there. And then throughout the day, I really get that sweetness. And what this becomes is that long-awaited snack or cheat meal on a diet. That is that, oh, I savor this. Oh, I've been waiting for this. You've been waiting to go to one of the best restaurants in Tokyo, Ginza, top level of their, their beautiful premium stores. And you go get this and you're like, oh, that was worth the wait. That's what sugar lychee is. It is youthful, it is carefree, and it invokes a positive inner core that just gets you so happy. So I hope you're excited for that one too. And then our next fragrance.
오렌지 블로썸을.
With orange blossom. Some of my California peeps will know the scent, or some of my Floridians will know the scent of blossoms from the citrus fields. We just passed the harvest where we would smell that. It's usually around late March into April. And you from the orange blossoms, you would get neroli. So you will hear neroli and orange blossom, and they're different extraction processes. So you will hear them use both. But with this, it is so calming. It is so pinpoint accurate focus. Some of us get clouded brains throughout the day. Some of us have stressful times and we need to reset and refocus. And that's what this fragrance is perfect for. My first initial smell is very clean, very green notes. It is very grassy, I guess you can say, is what I smell within this. Not grass in the sense of long grass, but I smelled the greenery after it rained in an orange field, in a grapefruit field, in a bergamot field. That's what it initially goes to. Then we get the neroli from the bitter orange. Strong, sharp, puts my brain back in its place and gets me onto my path that I've fallen off from. And then it dries throughout the day into a warm wood. Now, this tends to happen with our bergamots and our nerolis, where they have that warmness to them. If you ever hear the use of solar notes, that's what I feel here, where it is just so beautiful, smooth, and it's a good base. Because I'll tell you, this fragrance will get you up here. It will wake you up, but it has to stabilize you, right? When you're on your path, you have to have a good base. So again, this is just my interpretation. Don't be taking notes that there's wormwood as a base. I'm telling you what I experienced, because I want to hear what you experience, because I bet you it's going to be something different. And our last fragrance.
샴팡.
Now, when I heard that we were bringing Sholayered on, I was so excited. There's so many other fragrances I can't wait to experience, and I hope you go experience too. But this was one of those ones I'm like, oh yes, a champagne fragrance. Oh my gosh. I've seen little by little more fragrance houses focusing on alcoholic notes, and some do it amazing, some don't. So I was very, 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 very excited when we got champagne on. And I'm telling you this, if you've had an amazing bottle of champagne, chilled, iced, and it's the highest grade of Chardonnay grapes, Muscat grapes, and you can still taste the grape and it's not covered by alcoholic notes, that's a good champagne to celebrate something with. So this is definitely a gourmandise or a gourmand fragrance. It's yummy, it's fruity. This is my second one after sugared lychee that makes your mouth water. When I smell this, I actually smell the tingle of bubbles. My nose actually feels the tingle of bubbles from a champagne flute. It is so yummy. And that goes away fast, just like champagne, right? If you leave champagne there, you're going to lose the bubbles. You got to drink it fast. So the bubbles do go away, but what I get is that green grape. If you grew up in a climate where you grew grapes on your grandma's garden fence, this is plucking that big juicy grape, washing it and taking a bite of it. You feel the pop of juice. You taste it. It's sweet, but not too sweet. You taste the earthiness of it, and you're just so happy and can't wait for another bite. That's what I get at the heart of the champagne fragrance. And then I do smell that greenness. When it dries down, that sweetness matures into a little bit of a stronger base, and I smell just a little bit of the vines, a little bit of the summer heat, a little bit of the beautiful vineyards, that moist soil. And I love that this is sweet, uplifting, effervescent, but it continues to not just be that, but get you into the Tuscan or Sedona wine vineyards, and takes you to a place. So are you either hungry? Are you ready for a date? Or are you ready to go on an adventure and start something new? I hope you learned some beautiful words there. Create your own words, your own descriptives, but I want to hear when you write these reviews what it is to you and where it took you. Of course, I want to know if you loved or hated it, but here's what I say with fragrance. You may love or hate it, but you can appreciate it for its masterpiece, and that's what I want to hear is how do you appreciate these fragrances? And what do you interpret from the strokes of paint that Sho created here? So I think we're ready for him. But before we finish up, I wanted to ask what fragrance layering means. So Susan, you earlier mentioned Sho's concept of layering. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to dive into two types of layering, be it a fragrance wardrobe or product wardrobe, and I'm going to dive into fragrance cocktailing. But is there, from Sholayed's aspect and from Sho's aspect, what's the importance of layering fragrance?
So allow me to speak on behalf of Sho, although I'm not quite as cute as Sho is. But regardless, the concept of layering fragrance really ties back, Johnny, to that concept of Zen, groundedness, slowing down, taking a deep breath, and really getting in touch with who you are and what you are feeling. So all of these experiences that we have as human beings, getting to know other human beings, or simply being alone as a human being, or encountering nature, any of these different moments in a human being's life, we get to stop and feel those experiences. And Sho's goal here was to resonate those exact same experiences through your olfactory, and hence tickling those kind of emotions that we have internally and really eliciting different kinds of moods that we might experience as human beings. So as we go on throughout the day, we might have ups and downs. We might have sleepy moments or awake moments, or we might really just want to feel spicy, feel a little bit sexy. Anything that you desire, Sho wanted to offer an opportunity to recreate those feelings internally through fragrance. So the concept really that Sho was anticipating with Sholayered itself was to give you a very simple way to add to your mood, change your mood, or completely twist it up and give yourself a whole funky perspective on the rest of your day. And how easy is it to just to say, oh, I want to feel a little bit more confident walking into this meeting today. Done, right? So that's kind of the concept that Sholayered really was born on when it comes to layering.
I have so many questions in the chat function that I think we're about to answer about layering. So everyone, continue your questions. We're going to open up Q&A in a second. But I'm super excited to see what questions you have. We've never done fragrance in Beautytap's review program. So I want to see some good questions, but layering questions, let's get to it. So there are two ways to layer your fragrance. One is called a fragrance wardrobe. So some of you may have heard this term, and a fragrance wardrobe is understanding that fragrance is affected by what you layer it with. And you can create a new world of fragrance by layering things properly. So a fragrance wardrobe may look like something like you're seeing on the screen. That is your soap in the shower, your body soap, your shower gel. It goes into your body lotion. It goes into things like oils or body creams, things like that are a little bit more oil-based. And then it either finished off with the fragrance or is touched up throughout the day with fragrance. One thing we did not hit on is that these are body sprays for a reason. They're because Sho wanted to be able to layer them. And when you do have something like an eau de parfum or an eau de toilette, it's harder to get specific notes to shine through others. So with a body spray, which is oil and water based, we're able to layer and layer and layer. I noted this before, but remember, if you are spending the time, effort, and money to put on beautiful fragrance like this, and then you have, sorry, I'm going to pick on some of you right now, Saint Ives or Dove, or you have a shower gel that is Lever, I almost said Lever 2000. Does anybody even know what Lever 2000 is? I don't even think it's made anymore, but you get what I'm saying. A lot of these shower gels have deodorant ingredients in them. Well, guess what? That's going to hurt your fragrance. So being aware of what you're layering is so important. Layering fragrance on top of each other creates a new fragrance. May not, I would say, last longer. That depends on the fragrance, but having a wardrobe really works great. And I do love that Sholayered, even though we're featuring the body sprays, if you layer the white rose and sugar lychee together, maybe one's a body lotion, one's a fragrance, that's a whole different level compared to fragrance on top of fragrance, right? Maybe you want the champagne body soap and shower gel to really hone in on that sparkling essence, but you want just to have a little bit of mysterious mix to add a little bit of that flair, a little bit of that mystery, right? So that's a little bit about fragrance wardrobing. And then I wanted to dive into fragrance cocktailing. So here's a little game. Open up that chat function. And I want you to tell me what you think these mixes are. I have a name and a description for each of them. And just like a well-made drink, or if you're not into the alcoholics and the cocktails, maybe a beautifully made dessert, they all have their own personality. They all take you on a trip from first touch of the lips to final sip of that jar. What is it? So please put in the chat function what you think these are. Give them a name as I describe them. I want to hear what you would call these drinks or these fragrance cocktails. So the first one, we are mixing Mysterious Mix, a smoky, sensual seductor of mystery. And then we are adding Orange Blossom, sharpness. I smell the orange fields. It is pinpoint, so pinpoint accuracy. So, okay, Smoked Blood Orange from Shannon. Bourbon on the House, beautiful. Orange Seduction, fun and crisp. Sidecar, yeah, that probably is a sidecar there. Mysterious Blossom, okay, so here's what I named it. Tall, dark, and mysterious, right? So when I mix these two fragrances together and spray them at the same time, it creates this beautiful, central, refined mystery. It helps take me to a place where I'm ready for an adventure. So spray them both, and it is yummy. It's a little bit of the unknown, but I'm ready for it. Okay, next one. Tell me what these names are, guys. Sugar lychee plus champagne. So we have super crispy crystallized sugar, and then we have bubbling champagne. What do you think? Oh, it's like strawberry champagne. Reminds me of a drink called the White Beauty. Party, French martini. I like that, French martini. Sugar rush. Oh, getting close. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Love it, love it. And just excitement, just excitement. I love it. Thank you, Roxanne. I call this candied bubbles. It's that moment of pure bliss and a fizzy head swimming in champagne bubbles. It is ready to kick you off to a party. So these two together, just, oh my God, they're so yummy. You actually will doing that combination, you'll probably go through those really fast, I warn you. And then my last is Mysterious Mix. Again, a beautiful, beautiful, mysterious, unknown, adventurous fragrance. And then champagne, which is effervescent, bubbly, and just a little fancy, right? Just a little pinky up with that champagne. What do you guys and gals think this fragrance is called? Bubbly Mystery, Warm Chic, Speakeasy. Okay, there you go. I missed it there. Old Fashioned, a smiley face. Okay, there you go. That's how we're naming fragrances now. Smiley faces. I'll take it. So I call this Mysterious Mix and Champagne cocktail the 007. Just like the International Man of Mystery, it has confidence to it, right? It's a dash of adrenaline, and it gets you throughout the day or to go save the damsel in distress, whoever he or she is, right? So this is what fragrance layering is. You can layer more than 2. I think 3 is a good layer. You can throw them all in if you want to. Haven't got to try that yet. But again, it's about changing the fragrance to fit you, your mindset, your emotion, and what your soul wants that day. Okay, Susan, I think it's time for Q&A. So are you having fun, Susan? Are you liking what the community's naming some of your cocktails out there?
I love it. I wish I was a part of your community. This is so fun. Everybody's so welcoming and creative. It's great.
We can bring you on anytime. Okay, questions, guys. Throw out your questions. Raise your hand about these fragrances, about Sho, about the mindset of a fragrance producer in the aspects like producing a soundtrack or a movie. How do you produce fragrance? Very interesting mindset there. Okay, what, Susan, I have a question from Holly.
Okay.
What's your favorite mix? And it's okay if you mention fragrances we don't have here, because I want the experts to go explore Sholayered, because you have a lot of fragrance. I can't wait to smell olive vodka fragrance. But what's your favorite mix?
So I will say, Johnny, that I don't want to make anyone jealous. So I'm just going to start by that. But I'm currently wearing the olive vodka layered with hibiscus. Oof. It's so good. So my favorite mix, if you're asking my favorite mix, I will say it's those two together. for the sheer reason of being confident, because that is ultimately what that note of hibiscus kind of gives you, is that feeling of confidence that you can walk into the room and take on the day and do whatever you want. So I will say that olive vodka is my favorite solo scent. And then the combination with hibiscus is my favorite mix. Although I will, so stepping off of the jealousy platform, I will say that amongst your cocktails that we have exhibited today, I love that tall, dark, and
mysterious.
Yes, that would be my favorite. I love anything with the orange blossom as a mix, because when you layer with orange blossom, it does exactly what you said, Johnny, which is it focuses you. And I think that generally speaking, we can all use a bit of focus. So I think that the play on the mystery versus the focus, it really just kind of pinpoints exactly what am I doing today? Am I in touch with myself? And not to mention, it smells so delicious. So
one thing I didn't hit on in our Fragrance 101 masterclass is that historically, fragrancing houses, from many Louis Vuitton to many French perfuming houses, do use neroli and bergamot almost in all of their fragrances if they don't tell you. And the reason is exactly what you said. It is so focusing that the person can focus at the fragrance, the notes, but also it's a good platform. It raises up. So if you have a fragrance at home that you say, you know what, I've been using this for years and I love it, but I got bored of it, throw a little bit of orange blossom first, then your fragrance at home, and see what it does. Those specific citruses really help other fragrances or bases of fragrances stand up and stand out too.
Absolutely.
So, okay, a question here, and we think we did answer this, but let's hear it from the expert's mouth. Should I only layer Sholayered with itself, or can I layer it with other body products? Is there any suggestions when it comes to that?
Brand tag, we love you to use Sholayered. Just kidding. Jokes, only jokes. No, Sholayered can be used with anything. It is not exclusive. We like to use any kind of layered fragrances that you have underneath. Will go well with Sholayered fragrances regardless. And the sheer fact is that all of our products are completely natural. They all play on the natural ingredients. So there's no toxins, it's cruelty-free. And that said, the chemistry behind it really won't clash with anything you throw at Sholayed's direction. So anything you've already put on, be it a lotion, be it a I don't know, deodorant or a body splash, go ahead and layer Sholayered on top of it, and you will still get that same elicited feeling that won't be overwhelming, because it's not going to, like I said, it won't clash with anything beneath it. Although we definitely do suggest using our layering system throughout sort of that wardrobe, as Johnny was talking about.
Beautiful. So I was about to say that Savannah in the chat just says she loves your brand and aesthetic, and then she raised her hand. So Savannah, how's it going? What would you like to ask Susan or throw out there?
Hi, thanks, Johnny. Hi, Susan. I checked out the brand last night. It is so beautiful. I'm already making my shopping list. Any idea when we can expect white musk?
Oh, look at you. White musk. Yes. It's coming. It's coming. I don't have an exact release date for you, but I'm very glad to know that you are doing your research. And I believe after this, we'll be able to stay in touch with all of you. So Savannah, we're happy to stay in touch and let you know when it is coming and when it has arrived.
Yay, great, thank you.
Sorry for the vague answer, but yay.
No, there are so many beautiful fragrances and so many beautiful scent stories. I'm so excited for it. There was a last question. Where did I missed it? Oh, I had a question from Akirti, and she wanted to know how does the bottle or packaging affect fragrance? And so we can dive into, where should I keep my fragrance? Should I keep it away from light? Should it be in a specific bottle? Is there anything you could throw out there? I usually suggest cooler places, but anything from a fragrance house perspective of how you would suggest that.
Sure thing. So for sure, similar to, I guess you can relate it to wine. Wine doesn't love direct sunlight. I think a lot of things besides humans and plants don't necessarily love direct sunlight. So I will say that keeping it in sort of a, a cabinet, or even, of course, we have our beautiful room diffusers. Generally keeping it in, as you say, like a cooler spot. Doesn't have to be like cold by any means, live in California, hard to avoid that. But anyway, if you keep it out of direct sunlight, keep it in a generally cool spot, that will definitely help the longevity. Not that it's going to do anything to it per se, but it will definitely extend the longevity of the product itself, for sure.
And, I know we love our fragrance bottles, guys and gals, but but don't keep it in the sunlight. Don't keep it on your vanity. Please and thank you. So I think we answered. Oh, I have a question from Lala. How long does Sholayered fragrance usually last? Is there a professional way to help fragrance scents last longer? So before Susan, you throw any insight, I want to point this out. And we spoke to this in our masterclass. Fragrance is not one thing. There's eau de perfumes, there's eau de toilettes, there's body sprays, there's ancillaries like body lotion. So don't treat every fragrance the same. And I love that Sho is a body spray, which is a oil and water base, so that it can be layered. But from what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Susan, Sho really wanted you to experience different journeys with his fragrance throughout the day. So you may have a different need in the morning than you do going home or going on the date. So he made them in a way that you can easily retouch and refresh. But Susan, from your perspective, is there ways to make fragrance last longer?
Ooh. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Mine don't last very long because I like to use them so much. Just as you say, it is that concept of being usable. It's so cute. You just put it in your little bag and take it with you on the go. In terms of the longevity, of course, it depends on your skin chemistry, how long it'll last. If you have other fragrances beneath it, or if you're out in the sun too long, or there's so many different factors that affect the lifespan of a fragrance, if you will. But I wish I had the magic secret to make my Sholayered body spray last longer, because it looks like my orange blossom is running a little bit low. So that is my answer.
I know my champagne and my lychee are going to be like that. You're going to see me at your door like, Susan. So I will pony back on that. It just depends on you. Just being in this industry, I will say, if you love sugared lychee or champagne, get the body lotion of it and layer it, and that just intensifies that same fragrance. But if you say, you know what, I like exactly there, I don't want it stronger. Maybe especially if you're drier skin, that could really break down fragrance easily. Do a non-scented body oil or non-scented body lotion, oil-based product, and then do the fragrance, can really help there. Or go to the French mindset. I didn't tell you guys this, but in multiple cultures, especially in France, if you wear the fragrance for yourself and you love smelling it, spray it on the décolleté, spray it in the hair, and that's for you. That's a way for you to experience it. Where if you want to turn heads and you want people to say, what's she wearing? Spray it. You could spray it in the hair, the back, the arms, the back of the legs, and it turns heads there too. So good way to go about it. Okay. I'm seeing the word wine. Wine would be better. Sorry, Tanya, I don't know what the question is. Wine would be better, but how about fragrance? Hey, I say just get wine and fragrance. I think that's perfect together. You can get champagne and you have them all together there. No, I'm just seeing love. I think we answered all the questions. So thank you so much, Susan. It's been an amazing journey. We have something special for them before we say goodbye. Are there any final words you have for us, Susan? I personally want to thank you for this journey, and our team will in a second, but anything you want to say before we say adieu?
You know, I also want to say thank you, Johnny. And I want to say thank you to everybody here and all of your kind messages. This is really a beautiful little community you have here. And from Sho's perspective, I want to encourage each and every one of you to take on the day with confidence and with clarity and with focus and just enjoy the day and all it brings to you today.
Thank you. Just find the Zen within your life, be it through fragrance, be it through pastries, or be it through Beautytap, whatever works for you.